Director of Marposs here in India, and very happy to be here. And I'm looking at my co-panelists. I can say that we are create a work together, because from who is building the roads, who engineering the road, which is the tolls, who is electricity, that recently is very important, who is making the infotainment for the car, etc., and us, who is making the quality system to measuring for example, the electrical motor of the cars and all the rest. So altogether we're creating this ecosystem that is providing the mobility to everybody. Just in a nutshell, one of my motto when I have to explain what Marposs is doing is that Marposs is doing A to Z, from the watches to the space, because recently, thanks to all the acquisition that we made in the last few years, precisely 29 acquisition, we are able to serve a lot of markets. So EV is one of the most trending topic recently, but especially in India we are trying to strengthen the medical. That is another very good opportunity. Semiconductor, chips manufacturing, etc. And also say an ancillary that everyone has got now for our body, the mobile phone. That we are also in the sector, plus the watches. So I mean, I don't want to bother you too much, because we can stay here hours if you have to go through all our application. But yes, the aim of our company now is, I can say to summarize, not anymore measuring the things, but is providing the quality solution to enhance the performance and the efficiency of all the products toward the green environment and reducing of the overall cost. Thank you very much.
What an incredible spread of businesses and activities that are so deeply enmeshed into India. It's amazing to see that an Italian specialty chemicals company is part of the Atal tunnel in Zozila. The work that you do is probably in nearly every car that all of us drive. Sandy is a dangerous man. I mean, last time, as he said, between the time we met last and now, he is grown by 7x. I don't know what's going to happen the next time we meet. Also a testament to the potential I think that the market offers. There are a couple of clarificatory questions that I wanted to ask from the things that you folks said in this round before we move on to the opportunities one. Ravi, could you tell us which manufacturers do you work with here? And did you say you have 18 manufacturing plants? Goodness. Okay, so you work with nearly everyone here, number one, and do you also export from India?
Yes, we work with, you mean to say the OE manufacturers, right? So we work with almost all the OE manufacturers in India.
Both Indian as well as the global car makers.
Yes, yes. So in India, specifically the big ones, Maruti Suzuki, Tata, Mahindra, Volkswagen. We don't have much of a business with Honda. It's a difficult customer to crack, but majorly everybody others.
Honda, you said, is a difficult customer.
Hyundai.
And you export your components?
Yes, we also do 20% of our exports globally, including our exhaust systems, including our clusters, including our powertrain and our product lines.
Thank you. Sandy, I was fascinated by what you said about your project in Mexico, where you have 2,400 acres of solar installation. This is a consistent theme that comes up in India when it comes to land and land usage, and you can't find that spread of land. Give us a little bit of perspective. I mean, is that still very challenging, especially wind installations, so also solar? How is that going for you? Are you able to find large parcels of land?
We hit a raw nerve. Yes. That land acquisition is probably the biggest challenge. It's 5% of the cost of the project, 155% of the pay. Yeah. And but thankfully, like most things in this country, I mean, there is chaos, there is confusion, but things do work in the end and can play out. For example, in a project in Rajasthan, which is the 420 megawatt solar project, we've acquired 1,500 acres of contiguous land. So it's been a challenging process. It's taken time, but we've managed to do things the right way and still get it done. In Gujarat also, we've got 80 turbines. Every turbine has a footprint of about 4 acres, thereabouts. It's not very easy, but with government support, with support of local aggregators who work with farmers to acquire land and then convert it into non-agricultural. It's a time-consuming process. It's a painful process, but if you follow the right processes and systems, provide the right compensation, have the right paperwork and permits and approvals, things do happen. They take time.
One of the exciting things in this regard that one has been hearing about lately is projects where you install large solar arrays in water, in reservoirs and so on. I think some experiments are beginning to scale. One, is that something you're exploring? And number two, where does the technology stand as far as building such installations in the ocean?
If you're talking about the solar PV on the floating format, yes, that's gaining popularity because that takes away the challenge of land acquisitions. But currently it's been limited to land around reservoirs or canal tops. There is technology available. Of course, you need to have the right kind of foundations and anchors. We have seen some pilot projects and projects by some government PSUs like the NPC taking shape. Some bids have been announced. There's been participation by private players as well. So on the solar front, it's more manageable. Offshore wind is something which is probably more active in the shores of UK, Taiwan, more popular there. But in India, we see it as a more marine EPC play as of now, with issues around coastal regulations and the naval security and safety requirements as well. That I think is still some time away. And more importantly, in that you need the port infrastructure to be developed, because you can't transport big chunks of infrastructure. You have to create the infrastructure at the port and then ship it to the offshore installation areas. So that I think is still some time away in India. But things are moving there in the right direction. The government policy is also beginning to take shape, and in the next 5 years, I think there will be a lot of development around that. But there's enough to do on the onshore front as well.
Wonderful. I'm very intrigued by the business of boom barriers, and all the security systems that we do. In India, there is a peculiar sense of entitlement that some people have, where they become very agitated when asked to pay toll. So sometimes you hear this stories about SUVs banging through your boom barriers. Is there a problem?
It's basically the discipline, what is required to be given. So, yeah, one of the reasons why the bollards, the innovation of bollards came in is because that boom barrier is made of maybe an aluminium material. So you always have a possibility of crashing it and without maybe questioning the discipline, what is required to be done. So if in case you want to implement certain things, you also have alternate solutions like bollards, which is possible to be done. But yeah, it's a kind of how much time does it take to open the none of the people wanted to wait for not even probably 5 seconds. Maybe because of that reason, they are getting agitated and then probably crashing the barrier and going on. That's one possible reason. The other possible reason is that they don't want to pay the toll. So it's a question of it's a question what everyone has to answer. But yes, that's something. There are discussions in terms of barrierless movements through different GPS systems and things like that, which has been in pilot projects. We don't know how it goes and how it is going to be.
How long did it take you to acquire a 60% market share in India in this segment?
One reason is that, of course, this is an electromechanical, as all you know, it's an electromechanical system. And we started as the technology drivers in the barrier business, whether it is hydraulic in nature or electromechanical in nature. Some of our products were designed with a brushless DC motor with direct drive mechanism, which avoids less or almost nil wear and tear. We do not use any oil or grease for maintenance of these barriers. And it's specifically in Indian condition, once it is installed, it's never been maintained. So you have to have the barrier working like every time. So our designs of the product were, from the beginning itself, is 10 million cycles. It's a 1 crore operation for the design which we have kept for. And the history goes back to the German tolling industry in 1970, when they have started the business of tolling system. They wanted to have the barriers to be operational continuously with almost nil maintenance. So it started off with 3 million cycles there in 1970s, and during the years we kind of evolved and bettered the design aspect of it. So we now have 10 million plus of design on these systems. Whether it is a boom barrier, whether it is a metro barrier, a flap barrier, or is a airport gates, the products what we offer is with 10 million cycles of design. So MCBF we call it. So that's one of the key aspects. That is the reason why we are the largest. Not many players are able to do this.
Amazing. My favorite Italian business in India previously was this gentleman we met in Bombay who used to make swimming pools. I don't know if you know this, but making high quality swimming pools is a very specialized business, and there is an Italian company that does a great job of it, and they are headed in India by a former swimming champion. So when we had this discussion in Bombay, he spoke very eloquently about swimming pools. My new favorite business might be the boom barrier business. It's wonderful. But what also strikes me is that all the sectors that you folks are in actually stands to benefit from the really strong capex that the budget has announced. We are in for a construction boom, both by the capex of the last 2-3 years that have been announced and already being implemented. I mean, we're building roads and highways and bridges at an unprecedented scale. You travel anywhere in India now, you see incredible highways. And I think before elections in 2024, more and more of these are going to open up as well. Which brings me to the size of the opportunity and why you're here. I think India is now very conscious that there are many countries where you could be, manufacturing. There are, we're competing with many other countries to be a market of choice, a place for manufacturers to be attracted to. So one, why are you here? What are the opportunities here that excite you? And along with that, if you could address 2 things for me. One, do you export from here? And 2, do any of the current government policies benefit you? For instance, PLI schemes, do any of your businesses benefit from PLI schemes? We'll start with that.
As you rightly said, that infrastructure is booming in India. And fortunately, the kind of infrastructure what we were making around 10-15 years back, the quality of infrastructure, the highways and the airports have totally changed. And they're going for the latest technology, putting the latest things into the shape. And as my co-panelist said, that DJ Yatra, which is like a fast tag at the airport. Once it becomes so common, that everybody will not be able to wait in the line. Second thing is exporting. Yeah, from India, we are catering to the SAARC countries except Pakistan, where we import, and then like Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives and Sri Lanka, which are being catered from India. Being 3 plants in India, and with the growth of Indian market, what has happened is a couple of Asia Pacific countries like Singapore, Malaysia and even Middle East, they have started buying from products from India, because some of the products which have got requirement in India, high-end products which were never thought of initially, we have started manufacturing in India. And with the growth, all of the 3 plants are like overbooked. And we started a recent plant under the UP government investment scheme in the Mathura. So that we started around 4 months back. Within 4 months back, we are planning to have extension. And the R&D center we have is the biggest R&D center of the construction chemical company in Milan. Now with that construction chemical R&D center is like a hospital of the construction chemical industry. The product development is fast and the technology is like proactive. Generally, Mapei thinks another 10 years back, considering not only to the products, but the life cycle assessment also. We work on a 360-degree life cycle assessment, like carbon emissions, right from the raw material sourcing to the finished products. And second thing is, not only in the products, as most of the Italian people we met, Mapei is known for the sports. We have got our own stadium, and we have got our own football team. We have got our own cycling team, and in India we have started this concept of Mapei with a Mapei Fit. Here we have a lot of marathon runners in the country. We sponsor a lot of marathon footballs. So it's like a company which is involved in a lot of activities within India and exporting it outside also. Thank you.
Maccaferri is an amalgamation of manufacturing focus in India and the design focus from Italy, which is our design center located in Bologna. Maccaferri very specifically is focusing on environmental solutions, anything that has to do with the environment, environmental protection. So kind of like a soil erosion, or even the solutions where like Joshimath, where the significant natural calamities which are occurring. So these are definitely the solutions which we design and then we manufacture them in the plants located in India. We have 2 plants in India and 1 in Nepal as far as Indian region is concerned. Otherwise, we also have manufacturing locations across the globe, and like each location has got its own expertise. And whereas in India we have our expertise is in geosynthetics. So why I'm talking about geosynthetics is if you see the infrastructure. In India, as Indian economic growth is significantly dependent on infrastructure, and infrastructure is the industry which actually is causing significant carbon emissions. 22% contribution coming from this infrastructure industry or construction industry. So this is 2021 year data. And when we have the goal as India, we have goal as a G7 as the goal that has been taken to reach to net zero emissions by 2070. So that means as responsible, environmentally responsible organization. So that's where actually we are coming up with our significant design solution. So in general, otherwise we are, of course, yes, we are into all the what do you say, the industry segments, mining or the ports or railways or highways and border roads, and even kind of like the giving solutions like I talked about the soil erosion or the rockfall protection or even riverbed erosion. So anything related to environment, actually that's what we are into. But when we are doing this, what is the focus which we are actually keeping is how we can contribute to the goal of this net zero carbon emission. So the product portfolio that we have created or which we do create, the solution when we offer to our customers. So with the help of our the global R&D, is to reduce this carbon emission. So typically when we use conventional materials like the cement, concrete, timber, so that's actually what is eroding the natural resources. But here, the solution what we actually create is using the geosynthetics. So that's actually what is Indian manufacturing base where we are focused at. and the solutions are around this. So using this geosynthetics are actually, they can go with the material which is available at the site, because all sites or where the solutions are executed, they are like Kashmir Valley or maybe the river in Arunachal Pradesh, and also maybe certain border areas where we need to protect ourselves from, say, the neighboring countries. The solutions, when we have to deploy it there, this becomes very sensitive, they become very eco-sensitive, and we can't transport goods to the construction site across all our manufacturing base or supplier base. So we have these solutions which actually go along with the use of local material. So the solutions, say for example, if I talk about rockfall protection, like which we talked about, so we have a plain gabion technology. So using gabion technology is easy to transport, but we use the local material which is around the rocks and the stones, and neatly placed in such a way that technically it provides the same solution or the better solution than using the concrete wall. Or say pavement solutions, say for example, if you have to build a typical conventional pavement, it's going to get the desired strength. So you have to have a 1 meter height of, let's say, concrete construction, including say, certain steel and then cement, etc. But using this geosynthetics, we can reduce this by 50%. The cost is cheaper, and the strength, of course, is same, in fact, superior, and the life, of course, is definitely significantly higher. So this all is coming from our Indian manufacturing capabilities and backed by the technology which we have globally. So this is actually what which we are focusing, and this is how we would like to contribute to India's growth, and at the same time help to curb this carbon emissions. And this is what our journey is all into.
Thank you. I'm afraid, in the interest of time, we're going to have to change the format a little bit, and at the same round, take both opportunities and challenges. And we will come to the two of you at the end for challenges, since you couldn't address. But if the rest of you folks, if you could take 2 minutes each, talk about both the opportunities here as well as the challenges you face. That would be helpful.
Yeah, with the infrastructure projects being happening in India, with many of the metro projects are happening, many of the metro projects. So we find lot many opportunities for us. Similarly, in the tolling segment, that's a huge growth which is expected. And the way the residential segment, the automation possibility which is there for a better quality of life which is there, and the automation can provide. So that's a huge opportunity which we are looking at. So obviously one of the challenges what we are facing is the quality of manpower. So that there is skill development is something which requires too much of attention for these kind of things, and we need to be competitive in this part of the world. Very, very aggressively you need to be competitive. So
more specifically in engineering talent or in factory floors and manufacturing, where specifically do you feel it most acute?
It is on the engineering side. We definitely need to be more from the PP. It is a small set of people right now, but the requirement is quite huge. So we definitely need to add a lot of people and engineering skills to provide a quality solution for a sustainable solution.
I think India focused on churning out a lot of software engineers and started neglecting chemical engineers, mechanical engineers, and now it's beginning to, yeah.
So some of the opportunities what we find is that, like you said, power is something what is required. So we have products designed for the solar power operations. So we are the very, very few manufacturers who has our products which is working in a mining environment with solar power. So where cables are cannot be run. So those are kind of products which is not being utilized here in India, even for tolling segments. So whenever we do, for any building, whenever we do a power audits, we do the power audits for the lighting loads or HVAC loads. But believe me, a place like DLF, IT Park, or a place like the Nirvana IT Park in Mumbai, where 20,000, 30,000 people are working, during the day, when 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, the number of vehicles which is entering the building, the number of operations of these barriers, if you just calculate the power consumption, it's a huge saving for a customer when you're trying to use the best quality products, or at least on this energy having solutions. With solar, the cost of ownership also goes down, and also in terms of investment payback will happen within the year itself. Some of our products consumes 35 watts, whereas the regular used products consumes between 250 to 300 watts.
Your competition is Indian companies or companies from elsewhere?
There are companies, other companies as well, but majority of this entrance barriers, it is Italian and Chinese companies.
Sandy?
Very quickly on the opportunity, I mean, the macros are in place, right? You have huge demand for electricity, you have growing population, rising incomes, increasing urbanization. Add to that we are the world's fastest growing large economy. Despite that, our per capita consumption is 100 kilowatt hours per annum. The world average is 3 times more than that. Italy consumes 4 times more than that. US consumes 10 times more than that. So there is huge power consumption that will come in to meet the aspirations of the growing population. And we cannot go down that path of providing electricity through the carbon swing, fossil fuel driven power plants, right? I mean, as the saying goes, the Stone Age did not end because we ran out of stones. We just found better ways and innovative ways to transform the world, right? So therefore, we have clean technologies, and that's on the demand side. Add to that, we heard earlier the eminent speakers talk about the electric vehicle revolution in the transport sector, right? So to run electric vehicles and to charge electric vehicles, you need power. Now, the whole benefit of reducing the tailpipe emissions by powering them through fossil fuels and increasing the chimney emissions will be a shame. So therefore, we need more green energy to power those electric vehicle charging infrastructure as well. So the demand side is huge. The government has very ambitious plans of increasing the capacity of renewables to 500 gigawatts by 2030. We're currently at 175 or 170 gigawatts. So again, the government intention plans and policies are very favorable and in the right direction. So all that augurs very well for the space we are operating in. Challenges that we face, of course, talked about land. That can be addressed if we have the right title documents to ensure that the land ownership rights are maintained. And then, of course, supply chain disruptions because of various reasons. And then commodity prices rising. Ours is a very capital intensive industry. We depend a lot on project finance debt. So the cost of debt and the rising interest cost is a big concern. So all these challenges are there, but they also offer opportunities. One very big challenge that we need to address as humanity is the challenge of climate change, which brings the opportunity, right? Because and I see a lot of young people in the room, college students, so you can drive that change. Do we have a problem at hand? Yes, climate change is real, right? I mean, there is a problem now. Are we late? Yes, of course we have crossed our time. I mean, we deserve to give a clean future to our next generation. Do we have enough time? We don't know, but I'm hopeful that we have. But so is it important to make a change? Of course, I mean, we have no choice. There is no, as I say, there is no plan B, there is no planet B, right? We have to make that change right now. So it's important to create that awareness and that acknowledgement that climate change is a real problem and that we need to heal the earth. COVID showed us we could do that, right? When the transport economy slowed down, when the industry shut down because of the lockdowns, the rivers cleaned up, the air quality improved, and so there is hope that we can improve. Let's create that real global challenge into an economic opportunity and things will be green and bright again.
Thank you, Sandy.
So my challenges are again categorized into two areas. One on the vehicle personality and second on the vehicle performance.
I have to say, I love the word vehicle personality. But you know, it's so, when you think about it, that's literally the most important thing about the car.
So in both these areas, what's happening is the technology is changing. If you take in any car, there are 120 electronic control units inside the car. 120 of them. Now the evolution from a normal ICE to an electric vehicle to autonomous driving vehicles is changing this paradigm. So all these 120 ECUs are nightmare to maintain for any OEM to integrate and make them operate. So all of these 120 are getting converged into maybe 15 or 20 computers. So that means if 120 have to come into 15 or 20 computers, each of these will become a high power computer. That means you have a big servers running inside the car. That means a car is becoming a computer on wheels, both in terms of driving the personality as well as driving the performance.
More like a server farm on wheels.
Yes, exactly. So whatever you see happen in the mobile phone is happening into the car. And the electronics and software is going to play a significant role. This is offering numerous amount of opportunities, separation of software away from the hardware, determining that means all of this, whatever I said, your door entry systems, your lighting systems, your body control systems, your infotainment systems, all of these have to run seamlessly, and also the electronics is also controlling the fuel injection that is happening into the vehicle, the automatic transmission that is, everything is controlled by software and electronics. So this is a major shift of consolidation that is happening in my industry, which is offering numerous amount of opportunities.
Ravi, very quickly, is the transition to EVs on your performance side? Is there a challenge for you?
Yes, of course, because not every region is moving in the same speed from the ICE engines to an electrification. The transition is slow and it's at a very degree of speed. But also the transitions in some countries is direct from ICE to EV, but in some countries more like India, it's more two-wheeler, three-wheeler push, hybrid, and then alternate flex fuels, and then move it. So this transition is also offering certain challenges in terms of we adapting the ethanol percentage. Somebody was educating me in my team that it's 10% ethanol today, but it is going to be 80% ethanol mix, which in India the government is pushing. That means it also requires a different heating, different fuel injection systems, and a new way of looking into things, and also improving the performance. The moment you add more ethanol, then the performance also has to be equally competent. So this requires reverse innovation, and within my scheme of things. The challenges are again, like my friend said, engineering talent, the ability to attract, train, and retain, both on the manufacturability side and also on the engineering side. On the manufacturability side, the technology is changing so fast that I need to revamp all my assembly lines to adapt to this new technologies. So this is also a good opportunity as well as a challenge in my industry. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ravi. Luca.
I would like to take, using the challenge that my panelists said, especially power consumption, efficiency, and both these factors, climate change, etc., to more or less reverse for us as Marposs those in opportunity, because what we are looking to do exactly is providing this quality application to solve this problem. to categorize, to enhance the efficiency of the electrical motor to reduce power consumption. In this way, will help this green circular economy, because rather than providing a simple application, you're providing a sort of solution, it's an help. So we are not looking to purely produce something, but looking to create a sort of help on solving a lot of problems. But one of the major, let's say, difficulties and challenges that we are facing is that usually the quality is not, for most of the cases, not linked to the cheapest solution. So especially in a market like in India, when we are talking about systems to enhance the quality that are obviously very high in technology, in the R&D, etc., also the cost, unfortunately, is playing a very big role, and that is one of our major issues that we are facing at the moment, to educate our customer to say, attention, okay, you are investing up front a little bit more, but what you will have in return on the long term will be a very good return on investment. So this is our, at the moment, biggest issue that we're facing on the market, especially for the sector and all of these new sectors that are requiring a very level of quality.
Wonderful. And we're going to throw open to the audience for some questions, but before that, I'll quickly summarize what I heard and what I loved hearing. Business is booming, especially for the boom barrier folks. But we heard about how people have had to extend capacity within 4 months. So there is no dearth of demand. Italian businesses are enmeshed within the core of India and Indian economy and construction projects and all of that. Talent is a challenge, but I did not hear much else by way of great challenges. I have one other question to Vijender before we open up. Vijender, your company is into environmental engineering. Do you have anything for pollution? Delhi and Bombay both? I mean, now Bombay is terrible as well.
Okay, so pollution in a global value, we take, of course, yes, definitely the carbon emissions, which as infrastructure industry, which actually is the main reason, as I mentioned, as a percentage, if I talked about as 22%, but if I put a number to this, is approximately 2,700 million metric tons in a year. That's what. So we are definitely far away to reach to a net zero carbon emissions, and overall as a pollution, if I would like to look at the solution, what we are actually offering is, yes, the design what we provide, or a solution that which we provide that uses those kinds of material which in a way they reduce the pollution, means like movement of the significant amount of goods to the site. That's what actually which we minimize. So there is no necessity of moving the goods from across to all places to the site, but provide such solutions which use the local material. So
what I mean is in combating pollution in urban areas. Like those towers that suck the...
no, not that kind of the infrastructure into the urban areas, but yes, we are focusing on the environmental, much bigger pollution in the beyond this manner, which we talk about as a natural calamity. So addressing those specific issues, what we have in India specifically, or otherwise across the globe.
Got it. We'll spend 5 minutes quickly taking questions from the audience, even if you would like to. Yes, the gentleman there, please.
Is it regarding the energy sector specifically for the solar?
Sorry. We are sending a mic your way. And if you could also please introduce yourself and address to one of them.
My name is Nazimuddin Khaimi. I am a plant head for Bauli, India. Bauli is an Italian heavy product manufacturing company, and we are in India for last 5 years in the market, manufacturing and supplying the process. Okay, this question is for the solar industry. So you are discussing the challenges as well as the opportunity. But I think the solar rooftop will be the biggest opportunity, because land acquisition is one problem. Then again, the environmental will play a big role, and this change of environment will require the plantation. Day by day, the cost of the land will be increasing, and then the demand from the agriculturist will be increasing. So I think the rooftop will be the best model where this will help in this